Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story.
Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Dollar Car Rental Studio, this is The Ramsey Show, where America hangs out to have a conversation about your life, your work, and your money. I'm John Deloney, joined by my good friend, best-selling author, relative hero to The Office and to America, America's career coach, Ken Coleman. How are you, man?
Doc, I'm living the dream, and it's always fun when you and I get together because we're talking about everything.
All of it.
We're not just taking money on. We're not just taking on, doing what you love and actually making money. We're taking on relationship stuff. The type of stuff you talk about on your show. I hope we get a couple of those calls today. I hope. I really do, man.
I got to have you on my show to take calls.
We need to. But if you haven't sampled the Dr. John Deloney Show, whoa, get yourself a bucket of Orville Redenbacher and sit back and enjoy the healing that is happening over there. I mean, it's do you have a PG-13 and an R-rated sticker that you put on those shows?
We have talked about having just a Deloney After Dark.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, though.
People are hurting, man, and you're helping them.
Listen,
there's no judgment there.
The first few calls, first few shows, James edited out. I would ask why are you calling me?
Yeah.
Don't you have some friends? Don't you have community? The number one response every time was this: I got nobody.
That's exactly right.
And it's the reason people call you.
Well, that's right. People are lost, man. You and I are basically in the same business. We're just talking a little bit different focus. You're from that mental and emotional health, and then I'm coming at it from that purpose. Everybody longs to make a contribution.
Yes.
And I talk about professional purpose, and you talk about relational purpose. If you really break it down,
and it all works together,
and it all comes together. So here's the deal: when John and I are together, we like to ring the bell to say, "Hey, if you're listening right now, and you feel like you got some nasty junk going on at work, maybe some poor leadership, some toxicity, what do? John and I love to tag team those. We'll come at it from the professional and the relational point of view. You got some relationship questions. Oh, Dr. Deloney he's on call. He's ready to go. And I weigh in on those too.
Always.
I got an opinion.
Yes.
Been married 23 years, parenting 3 kids. I don't know what I'm doing.
Hey,
so I can tell you what not to do. I've never parented teens before. It's like a roller coaster without a seatbelt.
You know what? After my son was born, after about 2 or 3 years, obviously my wife was the first Dr. Deloney. She's a brilliant scholar, and we spent a couple of years with our son, and we looked at each other, more me than her, and I said, I think every other parent's an idiot. We are geniuses. We have solved this, and what we need to do is quit our jobs and just go teach people how to do this because it's so easy.
It's so easy.
And then my daughter came along, and then we realized we don't know anything.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I went through that phase when we had 3 under 3, and I went, golly, what a sleep, and it's really hard. But, man, I pretty much got this down because I could take the 2 littles that are 7 months apart. We adopted and then got pregnant.
Yeah.
And I could take the littles, put them both down when they needed their diaper changed. And this is I don't know if Stacey's ever heard this, so I hope she's not listening. But I would wait until I saw both diapers be full. Okay? And I would go, okay, now it's time. I would put both babies down on their back.
Yeah.
And do this number here. Could do the whole thing. And I thought, I've got this. And then they started walking. Then they started talking. And I realized I'm nothing more than a professional diaper changer. Anything above and beyond that, I'm a complete blithering idiot.
When you'll figure it out? When you have grandkids. That's what I think. I think you'll fully understand, and that's why all grandparents just smile.
I don't want to figure it out. I'm looking forward to torturing my own kids with their kids. I want to come over to their house and say, hey, it's date night. Go out. And Stacey and I'll come over. I'll load the kids up with sugar.
Yep.
Leave every light on in their house. Leave the doors wide open.
Hey, you guys want to watch another movie?
Yeah. Stuff food wrappers in their couch. In the cushion cracks.
Yep.
I'm looking forward to enjoying
Hide
that.
1 or 2 shoes out of their closet just around the house. So
and then go into their sock drawer and steal one of every pair.
One. And just let it just take the phone call when they call and say, hey, I think my kids are kleptomaniacs. You think, I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
So what we're saying is is that
the advice you get today on this show is going to be worth what you pay for it.
That's right. And we're a mess.
Yes.
So it's okay if you're a mess. And that's what this show is about, because we've all made messes. And so whether it's a work mess or money mess or relationship mess, John, we've done it.
Oh, man.
And there's no shame in your game. That's what you and I love most about what we get to do is, hey, come on, man. It's okay.
I promise in most cases you haven't messed it up worse than I have. Occasionally I take a call and think, no, that's good. Nick, you overdid it. Well played, man. Here was the line. You went way over. But often, man, we are just walking alongside people.
That's right.
Hey, you got some exciting stuff coming. Are you allowed to talk about that yet?
I don't know where you're going with this, but I like that you're going there. Am I allowed to talk about what?
About your big project that's about to...
Well, yeah, I can tease it. We're developing an assessment right now, and we've written a big book that basically the two things together are going to help you discover what you were born to do in your work. Is it possible, John, that you were created to actually contribute to this world through your work?
I thought we were supposed to just sit at home and cash checks.
No, see, work is not this utilitarian thing you do to make a paycheck to live. We actually believe, I know you and I believe this, and Ramsey Solutions believes that work is a way that we can contribute. Meaning we were given talent, and we all want to do something that matters to us, and when we figure out that in large part from a professional purpose is work. Mm-hmm. Now, this doesn't mean that you are your job, and it doesn't mean that your self-worth is tied to your salary. What it means is that we all long to contribute, and we've been given talent.
Yeah.
Yes, and we want to work to contribute. Don't just work for a paycheck. So we're working on an assessment that is going to be able to, when you walk through it, you're going to come out knowing what you do best, what work you love to do most, and the results that you want to put in the world. I'm jacked about that.
So one of the cool things when you work at any place, right, is somebody has a new idea about a thing, you know, and you can hear their idea, and then people kind of roll their eyes when they're not around, and they say, "Oh yeah, that's Tom again. There he goes. He's got his idea." And then occasionally somebody's got an idea. They're working on a project. They're walking through something new, and there's a buzz about it. And so when Ken's not in the room, people are talking. Hey, we're reading drafts of this book. It's incredible. This is going to be a game changer for folks who are stuck or who think that the goal in life was a paycheck or a salary or a title or a thing.
Oh, yeah.
Or I don't know what to do, and I don't have any path on how to get there. Right?
Well, you're foreshadowing the book, which will come out in November, and I'm excited about that. It's the guide up the mountain to that professional pinnacle. Is it possible to make the income you need and the impact you want? The answer is yes. Just like there's 7 baby steps, we have 7 stages to doing work that you love, that you were born to do. So that's coming out in November. And
the buzz internally behind closed doors is that it is
that's very nice.
Outstanding.
That's very nice. We're very excited about it. You know what else we're excited about? Taking your calls, folks.
Give
John,
us a shout. 888-825-5225. It's 888-825-5225. Life, money, your relationships, your work, all of it. Give us a shout. We'll be right back. This is The Ramsey Show.
What makes our show unique is that we genuinely care about our listeners. We're intentional about choosing the best advertisers to recommend. Blinds.com is no exception. They offer high-quality window treatments at unbelievable prices, and they make it simple to shop blinds, shades, and interior shutters with easy online ordering, free shipping, and a guaranteed perfect fit. Go to Blinds.com and take advantage of this week's special savings.
This is The Ramsey Show, 888-825-5225. It's 888-825-5225. Let's go to Abby out in Wisconsin. Abby, what's going on?
Hi, thanks for taking my call.
You got it. What's up?
I was just looking into, I guess it's a career question. I went to school for precision agriculture, so I have like a 1-year degree, and then I have an associate's degree in ag business. And I really am passionate about going to find a career in precision agriculture. It's just really rough finding a job out here for that right now. I did have an interview a couple months back for that position at a company, and then I never really heard anything back from that. They ended up choosing someone else. So I'm not sure where to go from here.
What is precision agriculture? I grew up around ag, and I've never heard that term.
It is like the technology and the equipment. So we're dealing with GIS or GPS.
There you go. Okay,
systems,
gotcha.
like variable rate applications, all that stuff.
There you go.
That's still above my head. So
they're driving tractors with GPS systems now. We're outsourcing farming now to satellites and computers.
Okay, and so are you the person that works on these machines when the technology when it breaks, or are you developing new technology?
Electrical, kind of diagnostics, helping install the systems, and basically just showing people how to use them.
Okay, all right, and then tell me why it is hard to find work out here, is what you said. What does that mean? What are the factors that's creating this?
A lot of the jobs that there isn't really much available in my area, and then a lot of the jobs are kind of further away, and I don't really have the option to move.
Why?
Because, I have my 2-year-old daughter here with my boyfriend, and so we aren't really looking to relocate.
Well, okay. So we herein lies a problem. So the good news is you know what you want to do, and you know why you want to do it. But the challenge is you're going, Ken, I don't know how to get there. What do I do next? And so we're going to have to start to prioritize, unless I'm missing something, unless I'm missing another factor. So I want to repeat this. The reason that you aren't willing to look in other places is because you don't want to relocate. Correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And so you have a limited option or limited options where you live now. So that means you either get a day job, and the way I define a day job, Abby, is you're just doing something. It's not a dream job. It's not even necessarily on the path to what you want to do, which you've defined. It's that precision ag work. So that's one option, is to get a day job and keep connecting, keep knocking on doors, and just be patient to wait for an opportunity to open up in Wisconsin where you are. That's one option. Mm-hmm. The second option is that you say, all right, well, just because there's nothing here and the thing I want to do is kind of hard, I'm just going to quit. And I'm going to be an old lady, and I'm going to be regretful that I didn't go after it. That's one option. I don't like that option, but that's an option. And the third option is you sit down with the boyfriend and go, hey, this is what I want to do. Where does that fit into our relationship? We got a child. We're not married. What's our relationship look like from a commitment standpoint? What does he want to do with his life? What's his professional purpose? You know your professional purpose. And we got to sit down and talk about that. And maybe, just maybe, we decide to get uncomfortable and move to where an opportunity is. I think those are your three options. Am I missing something?
No.
So why don't you want to move, Abby?
I guess most of our family is in this area, so I've just kind of always planned on staying in this area.
Okay. Are you willing to not do the work that you really want to do in exchange for being close to family?
I'm kind of on the fence about it, I guess.
When anybody tells me on the fence, I go, psh, you're not on the fence.
You already know, Abby.
You already know. You just don't want to admit it. So why don't you go ahead and just tell us? We won't tell anybody else. Which way you truly leaning?
I don't know.
Yeah, you do.
Yes, you do. Don't lie on this show.
I've always wanted this position since I started, the program, and then, I graduated a few years back, and I've just been, constantly looking every so often to see if there's anything available.
Abby, why don't you tell us the why? You got a trained professional psychologist in Dr. Deloney. You got me, who's used to doing these calls too. I can tell, I know what the answer is, but you got to say it. I'm not going to say it for you. Tell me the why. Why have you longed to do this?
Because I'm passionate about helping like our farmers and people in the agriculture world.
Let's go a level deeper. Why are you passionate about helping farmers in the ag community?
Because it's just important to me about feeding our country and, just being able to bridge that gap between like my generation and their generation.
There you go. I'm not going to push any further, but what I want you to realize that I just did for you is I want you to identify how important this is to you and your heart. This is deeply connected to who you are, yes or no?
Yes.
So I'm going to ask you again. Are you willing to say pass? I'm not going to go for that. I'm not going to do this thing that I've longed to do because I just want to be close to family. Are you willing to say pass? What's the answer?
Yeah.
You are?
Mm-hmm.
You're willing to say, nope, I'm not going to do this. I'm just going to stay and I'm going to just pick another path and I'm going to stay near my family.
I don't know.
Doc?
I kind of felt like at first when I did get pregnant with my daughter, I kind of felt like I was like, oh well, this is what I'm gonna do.
All right, you know what? Hold on. I'm
parts right now. So
all right, I'm gonna get on right here, and then John can correct me and fix your emotions if I push you too hard. I want you to go with me for just 30 seconds. Give me an example of an area that has more precision ag jobs. Give me an example in a state, a city. How far away is it? Give me a quick example.
There's a lot more in the southern part of Wisconsin, and then there's like Iowa usually.
How far in that area of Iowa is that from where you are now? Give me a range. Let's do a drive.
Probably like 4 hours.
4 hours, Abby? You're willing to pass on what your heart has been telling you've wanted to do for a long time because you don't want to make a 4-hour drive? You don't want to take your child 4 hours away from its grandparents? Really? 4 hours? We're going to pass on your passion? Yeah, you do know. You're just scared. What are you scared of? Yeah, I know. What are you scared of? Tell us.
I really don't know. I'm scared of the unknown, I guess.
There we go. That works.
So
talk about the unknown, John.
How old is your daughter, Abby?
She's 2.
Okay. So let's fast forward 18 years. And your daughter looks at you and says, I have this dream that I want to go help people. I want to help a lot of people. Are you going to look at your daughter across the kitchen table and say, well, that's cute, honey, but we do briskets on Sundays, so I'll see you next Sunday? Would you do that to your daughter?
Probably not.
Let's say 100% not. You wouldn't do that. Especially if you said, I'm going to move a few hours down the road and I'll still drag myself up here. Think about your kids learn by watching us, okay? And so the example you can set for your kid is, man, you have dreams. You want to be a part of something bigger than you. You want to be a part of the agricultural transformation of the United States. And I'm on the ground floor. I'm one of the few people that know how to do this. I grew up in ag. I know those people. I know their hearts. And I know where this thing's going. I can be a part of that transition, or we all just go to Sonic after the game, and so that's what we're going to do for the next 35 or 40 years.
And let me tell you something, Abby. If you don't do this, and your excuse is family, and it's an excuse because you're afraid, you're going to end up resenting the very people that you're trying to make happy. I'm telling you, don't get to the end of your journey and regret. Get to the end of your journey and reminisce on the life, the adventure that you led.
Move, Abby. You got to go. This is The Ramsey Show. 888-825-5225. Taking calls on money, life, work that matters. I'm John Deloney, joined here by best-selling author Ken Coleman. 888-825-5225. Let's go out to Shane in Columbus, Ohio. Hey, Shane, what's going on, man?
Oh, not too much. How are you guys doing?
We're good, brother. How can we help?
Yeah, so I guess the question that I have is in regards to student loans and kind of how I should think about structuring my life and that kind of thing.
You went from student loans to how do I structure my life? They got real tactical to existential. We'll do what we can. Go for it.
Right. So I'm 31. I make not quite $58,000 a year at the moment, and I have $165,000 in student loan debt.
Whoa. What'd you get degrees in, brother?
Architecture.
Whew.
Are you in the field?
I am. I'm in the field, working toward my license and that kind of thing.
Okay. How far away are you?
So it's 2 exams.
2 exams. And then
wow.
What does your income do when you are fully licensed? Is it double? Is it triple? I guess it's kind of endless if you open your own firm.
That's a question that I've been trying to figure out. The answers vary wildly, either making what I make now or making somewhere close to 90 or 100.
Okay.
Are you clear? You don't have to tell us, but are you clear on what must be true for you to make 100?
I think so. At least in the job that I have right now, if I were to make that much or near that much, I would end up being in a project manager type role. And I'm not sure how long out that would be, maybe 5 or 6 years if I had to guess.
Yeah, here's the problem. We'll get to the money stuff in a second, but this is really important. You don't need to be thinking and you don't need to be guessing. You need to be knowing and you need to be doing. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I think so.
You have $165,000 in student loan debt.
Yeah. So,
Yep.
and you have a terrific education, and you're 2 tests away from getting licenses. That's going to open up a lot. My point is, you need to do more research and know what the path looks like to be a project manager in this current company, or know what it takes to make 100 somewhere else. You need to know that, not guess, not think. That's what I'm making sure you understand. What are the multiple pathways for me to make more money, for me to get promoted? Do you understand what I'm saying now?
Mm-hmm.
You need to know that. You can't just think about it. You can't guess. We know. How do we find that out, Shane? We start talking to people that are higher up the ladder than you are. They know because they've done it. Do you understand?
Yeah.
All right.
What is the fear you have in finding out the exact precise path or location or destination? Is there a part of you that looks at that 165 and thinks, ooh, I may not have a path, and it's better just to not know? Why haven't you gone and just gotten the brass tacks on the numbers and the path here?
So part of it has been I spent a few years in a life situation that was total garbage.
Okay.
So there was that, and then I'm finally getting through that.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's a matter of I'm finally in a place where I don't feel unstable all the time.
Excellent.
And so now I'm looking at the future, but I'm not sure if I'm ready to take on the amount of responsibility that would get me the job that pays the 90, 100 plus. That's what I'm saying. It would be in a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel that I would be in a position in my personal life to take on that role at this time.
You're being awfully cryptic. Be a little more descriptive. Because here's the thing. You've boxed yourself into a corner with $165,000 in debt.
Right.
And so you got into a ring with a big fighter already. And now you're trying to decide whether you want to actually fight him or not. So in some ways that ship has sailed. But I do understand having seasons of my life when I think I can't handle or I can't stomach the amount of responsibility it would take for X, Y. I get that. But you're being kind of cryptic. When you say, I don't know if I'm ready, it's going to be a couple of years, are you suffering from mental illness? Are you dealing with a divorce? Like, what are you working through?
yeah, there's mental illness, and just having the experience level. Like, I'm not confident that I would be able to take it on.
Okay.
Like, the job that I'm at now is bringing me along, and I am taking on more.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a kind of situation where to go from where I'm at now to the project manager position, my responsibility triples or quadruples.
Okay.
And
at the particular firm you're at, right?
At the firm I'm at, but also just from, colleagues that I have and other jobs that I've been at, that seems to be the standard. Is they're working all the time.
Okay.
They have a lot of responsibility. They're managing a ton of people, and I just don't. Like I said, my responsibility would quadruple overnight if I were to do that today.
Okay. All right. So that's fair.
Yep.
That's fair. And so here's the good news. Let's talk. We'll walk you through how to get out of debt and walk you through the baby steps if you're not familiar with that. But understand this, that whether or not you're ready, and let's just assume that I get where you're going here, you're not ready for that, and it's going to take a little bit of time to be able to earn that responsibility. I totally understand what you're saying. Makes total sense. So in the meantime, we got to go do something else. We got to work a little bit more, get a second job, because we need to get out of this debt. You're 31 years of age, and you need to get out of this debt as quickly as possible. So the best way to do that is to increase your income, because obviously we're going to teach you how to cut your expenses, rice and beans, and the whole 9 yards, okay? But raising that income is also something that's going to allow this to go faster.
That's exactly right. And here's the thing. I want you to remember two things as Ken walks you through this. If your boss, if your supervisor comes to you and says, we think you're ready for more, very few bosses are that altruistic, are just going to give you something. The reason they would give that to you is because they think you're qualified, or they think, to be crass about it, they think you're going to make them more money. And so when somebody looks at me, here's a good example. When Dave and I were discussing me joining this team, one time we were talking about salary, negotiation, all that. And I said, Dave, you are asking me to take a job that I've never done. I've never been on the radio. And he looked at me and said, I think you can do it. And I remember leaving thinking, that sounds nuts, number one. But number two, he wouldn't shoot a hole in his own ship just because. And so that confidence got me into radio school and practicing all those things that we had to do to end up being on the show. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So when you are in your dark seasons, whatever your challenges are, when you're in those moments, I want you to remember your community defines your calling. They're going to be looking at you saying, hey, we think you're ready for this. And that often is somebody lifting your arms up in the desert, man. They are seeing things in you that you can't see, and it's good, like Indiana Jones. You go trust them. You take that next step and that next step. So go ahead, Ken.
And by the way, it's like parenting. You're not ready for parenting either.
It just happens.
You just have to do it. You have to do it. Okay, Shane, so assuming the only debt you have is the $165,000 student loans, is that correct? Or do you have other debt?
Yes.
Okay.
Currently, yeah.
All right, so here's the deal. Baby step one, you're going to put $1,000 in a savings account. That is your emergency fund, $1,000, okay? And then baby step two is we take on the debt. And so let's say you've got 3 different loans or 2 different loans. We're going to start on the smallest debt first. And you're going to attack it with everything you got, every extra nickel. We want to get your budget as tight as possible. Cut. Sell everything you can sell. Get a second job, third job, whatever. And you're going to attack that smallest student loan. And once you pay that off, everything you've been paying into that, you roll it over into the next largest one, and eventually you're going to pay all of those off. And then you're going to move into baby step 3, which is to put 3 to 6 months of your expenses in an emergency fund. That gets you to baby step 4, where you begin to put 15% of your income away for retirement. That's where you go. Hang on the line. We're also going to get you the Total Money Makeover, Dave's best-selling book that will go into further detail and walk you through this journey. Thank you for trusting us. Thanks for the call.
888-825-5225. This is The Ramsey Show. I'm John Deloney, joined by my good friend Ken Coleman. Hey, Ken, I want to talk about that last caller real quick. We had a young man who was $165,000 in student loan debt. He is 2 exams away from being a licensed architect, making about $60,000. Then life hit him in the mouth, right? He's struggling with some mental health challenges. He had some relationship issues. And to make the money he's going to need to make to pay this student loan off in a reasonable time frame, he now understands, whoa, that's going to be a lot more responsibility. It's going to be 4 times the workload. It's 24/7, 360, that kind of stuff. So it got me thinking about, man, I always wanted to be an executive at a university. That was a job. I was like, I'd plan that. And so I built a world around that. I went and got the right credentials. I started working in these ways until I started spending time around executives. And I remember the moment when I thought, whew, I don't want that life, right? I don't want that job. I don't want that life. And it was an existential crisis for me because I'd spent years, money, time, all that, investing in this track. And when I got close enough to it, I thought, oh, man. And then as I've worked with college students, law students especially, they get 1 semester away from law school, and they say, I don't want to practice law, right? Or I don't like this grind, but I owe $150,000. What do I do? Ken, what do we tell people? And and this isn't a setup for the audience. I'm wondering, like, what do you tell somebody when they realize, oh man?
First thing I tell them is don't feel guilty. Be grateful. Now let me explain that. Don't feel some sense of shame or guilt like, oh, I didn't get it. I missed it. So I spent all this time and money thinking I was going one direction only to get there and realize I don't want to do this. There's so much guilt and shame that people feel.
Yeah.
So let's first address that. I would go, hey, listen, it's okay.
Yeah.
I'm actually thrilled you figured it out now.
Right.
As opposed to never figuring it out or figuring it out and denying it.
Yes.
And biting your lip and spending a life of tremendous misery, which affects your personal life.
Affects everything.
Everything. That's why I do what I do, by the way. It's like I don't want people to just be miserable in a career. So the first thing is don't feel guilt or shame. Be grateful that you figured it out and then go, okay, so that's the first thing. So there's that. You were going to say something.
I was going to say, and I reject the notion when people get through with a degree and they go on to do something else, that they say I quote unquote wasted all of.
Not true.
You had to.
That's the very thing I'm talking about.
Okay, so yeah, you had this many professors. Think of that as you have this many bosses, this much community. You learned a lot.
It's in the rearview mirror.
There you go.
I mean, I could sit there all day long and tell you all the great things that you've benefited from, but that's the wrong narrative. That's why I'm saying no guilt, no shame. Be grateful that you figured it out. Now, in his situation, let's take Shane, our last caller. And this was not his situation, but you're setting up a point that, by the way, is very relevant. I get this call all the time on the Ken Coleman Show. So I say, look, if you don't want to go into architecture, we'll just use this example. Great. However, if you got $165,000 in loans, it might be a good idea to take 2 or 3 years and move forward, move up the ladder in architecture because you're trained for that, and it might be your best opportunity to make the money, the big shovel that Dave Ramsey talks about, right, to pay off the debt. And we're only talking about 2 to 3 years. Right. And while you're doing that, you might be able to cash flow the qualifying process for something else. And by the way, let's not assume that I got to go get another 4-year degree.
Exactly.
So let's just use a real life example. Let's say that somebody goes and does the architectural and they got $165,000 in debt. And they go, I don't want to be an architect. I'm miserable. There's no way I can do that. Well, they can either stay in architecture and pay off the debt, or they can go, well, what do I really want to do? And let's just assume they figure out that they want to go into technology. And instead of building and designing buildings, they want to design software. Very similar parts of the brain, by the way.
Right.
Well, let's just assume that's what they say. And they go, okay, I want to be a programmer and design software or whatever. Okay, great. So the first inclination is they go, well, I'm going to have to go get a computer science degree, which is running you about $160,000 to $180,000. I can't do that. I'm already $165,000 debt. What do I do? Well, the Ken Coleman Show partners with Bethel Tech, which is just one of a ton of options. Bethel Tech will train you, me, anybody, in 9 months to go from zero technology experience to where you're qualified to start making $75,000 a year with a path quickly to 6 figures and more. Whether it be a developer or technology engineer, whatever. They can do it. 9-month program, less than 15 grand. That's just one example of, wait a second, I can get out of debt and cash flow a bridge, a transition to a new future. So that's what I always do is say, hey, let's figure out where we want to go. And then we decide which path we take to get out of debt.
And the temptation is to sit in the ash of what was and just be like, well, this is it, dude.
I blew it, so I got to stick with architecture. No, you don't.
I'm sentencing myself to a lifetime of misery for one bad decision.
That's exactly right. So first thing, no guilt, no shame. Let's be grateful that we figured it out. Now let's get intentional. And stage 1 of my 7 stages to the work you were born to do is get clear. Let's get clear on what it is we want to do. Second stage is get qualified. Yeah. Third stage is get connected. And eventually we get started in stage 4. So we may have to, and I want to be very realistic right now. I don't want this to sound motivational. Oh, it's just 3 stages. No, it's hard work.
And sometimes years, right?
It took me 7 years to get to Ramsey Solutions and then 3 more before I stepped into my dream job. So I'm at 10 years.
A decade.
A decade to get to my dream job.
There you go.
Now, in this case, it may take you 2 to 3 years to get out of debt. And now I would press pause rather on the journey if that's what it took. Because here's the deal. It's going to be worth it in the end. I may delay the transition to what I really want to do 2 to 3 years, but what's the alternative? Never doing it.
Never.
And being stuck in debt for 25, 30 years of your life.
That's right.
Or dying with debt.
So my wife has some friends, and they tell a great story. They were 35, and they were on a date, and one of them said to the other, you know what? I kind of kick myself. I'm 35. I'd always wanted to go to med school.
Yeah.
To which the spouse replied, I never told you, but I want to go to med school too. Oh. And they were telling somebody, and they said, man, we're not going to do that. We're not going to be out of school till we're 42. And that person wisely said this. You're going to be 42 either way. The only question you should be asking is, do you want to be 42 and a doctor or 42 and not a doctor?
It's absolutely beautiful.
Whoa, we're headed that way anyway, right? Absent a meteorite or a car wreck. So, man, what if we just started walking that away?
I was 33 when I realized that it was not politics, it was going to be broadcasting, but I didn't have a college degree, and I didn't hardly know anybody, and I didn't have any experience, and I had 3 little kids under the age of 3. That's my story.
Yeah. And
33.
Mine
33,
was
dude.
Finishing my dissertation thinking, I don't think this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
And we're all in. You know what that means?
Uh-oh.
I got to go take another class and another class, and here we go, the whole thing. And my wife said, I may not think I want to stick around for another degree, right? We're going to have to walk this whole thing. It's hard, man.
Sure, it's hard. But listen.
But you're going to be 42 either way.
Yeah, here's the deal. Once you figure out that thing, and by the way, there's multiple jobs and career paths that could be your thing. That's what I teach.
No, Ken, there's only one thing.
No,
what is the
true.
thing?
No, not just one thing.
Just like there's one dream person like Titanic.
No, it's not true. Here's and by the way, here's how you know. As long as you're using your talent to do work you love, to produce results that matter deeply to you, ding, 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 that's a dream job. So there's a lot of things. A lot of things you could do. So relax a little bit.
Yeah.
Do the hard work. Own it. But for heaven's sakes, John, I'm so glad you asked the question, because there are so many men and women who feel like they blew it.
And they're stuck.
But they're choosing. You know, stuck is your choice. Everybody thinks that, well, this happened to me. I'm stuck. I'm not questioning what happened to you, but you're choosing to be stuck. You really are. Because I've gotten my car stuck before on the beach. I've gotten my car stuck in the snow. In fact, this last snow we got in Nashville. And I could have just sat there and went, well, Stacey, I'm stuck. Gonna have to sit here until the snow melts or till somebody comes along this deserted area of the beach and digs me out. No, I got my butt out of the freaking car, and I got down on my hands and knees.
And dug it out?
No gloves, because I'm an idiot, and dug myself out.
Because it's the Rockies.
Because being stuck is your choice.
And getting unstuck takes
is
a lot
also
of
your choice.
Ugly action. Well, thanks for talking through that with me. Man, my heart's with Shane. Make some good choices, good folks. And be kind to one another. Stay tuned. That's in 1 hour in the books. We'll be right back. This is The Ramsey Show.
Hey, it's Kelly, associate producer for The Ramsey Show. This episode is over, but if you heard about an event, product, or service and didn't have a chance to write it down, don't worry. We list everything you've heard about during this episode in the podcast show notes section or head to theramseyshow.com. Thanks for listening.
This is The Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story.
Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Dollar Car Rental Studio. This is The Ramsey Show, where America hangs out to have a conversation about your life, your work, and your money. I'm John Deloney, joined here by best-selling author and Ramsey personality Ken Coleman, and we are taking your calls on just about anything. Your relationships, your work, bosses that you're struggling with, where to go next in your parenting, in your kids' schooling, in your career, whatever is coming down the pipe. And we're also going to take your calls on money. I think we can figure it out along the way. Ken, how we doing?
Good. We always have fun together.
That's right.
We got the doctor and the guy who wishes he was a doctor. But not good enough of a student to do it. So yes, I learned early on.
You can sprint a marathon or you can walk it. That's the same. It's all good.
Or just read about what it's like to do a marathon.
That's even better. You can watch one on television.
Yeah.
And scroll right past it. That's right. So give us a call at 888-825-5225. Kelly's standing by to take your calls. Let's go out to Charles in Orlando, Florida. Hey, Charles, what's going on, man?
Hey, good day. Thank y'all for the laugh there.
You betcha. What's up, man?
My wife passed away about 10 days ago, and I'm just trying to find the next steps of what to do. We do have a life insurance policy, and I'm just trying to figure out what steps to take different, to make sure that I don't do anything too fast and just take my time and make good decisions.
There you go, man. Charles, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. Tell me about your wife, man.
Oh, the best. Absolutely. We had over 200, around 200 folks at her reception after her funeral. And just absolutely everybody. I wish I had kept up with the number of ladies who wrote me and said that she was her best friend.
Wow, what a testament. So you told me about some numbers. I want you to tell me about her.
She is extraordinarily loving. She was always encouraging, a wonderful Christian mother, wife, and grandmother. And just an extreme encourager for everyone.
Oh, wow. How many years were you married?
46.
Wow.
46.
Was it unexpected or something that was a longer journey of health issues?
She contracted leukemia back in 2015, went through one round of chemo, and went into remission for five plus years. And then it flared back up and just got a lot more aggressive than we were expecting. And she'd been sick about 2.5 months at the time she passed away.
Wow. Well, Charles, first, man, our hearts are with you, brother.
Yeah.
And
thank you so much.
Ken and I have been married a long time, and I appreciate you honoring us and with your trust, and thank you so much. The second thing here is, do you got any kids?
Yes, got 2 kids. They both live out of town.
How are they doing?
They're doing all right too. Okay. Just my son left just today, just a few hours ago, to go back home after being here for about 10 days.
Okay. So in the normal arc of grief, right? I always make a little star on my calendar when I've got a friend of mine who's going through something. For 10 days to about 2 months after something like this, when the last guy leaves, like your son did today, this is when your house gets real quiet. right?
Yep.
This is when this thing starts to get real, right? And that's when you look at the pile of bills and the questions and the what nows, and that's when stuff, it's been heavy and it's been messy. Now it takes on flesh and bone, right?
Right.
So the first thing I want you to recognize is there is no rush.
Okay.
Right? Your bills are covered. Y'all are okay financially?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So the guy who trained me in crisis response and actually walked me through some stuff that I was dealing with said no decisions for 6 months after something gets sideways.
Okay.
Okay. And I make sure that I've got somebody with me when I'm making big decisions in the middle of grief.
Okay.
Do you have a buddy that you can call, that you can reach out to?
I do.
Okay. So I would have somebody come over and help you. And it will also, somebody, when they love you and they don't know what to do, this helps give them something to do with their busy schedule. I mean, with their busy hands, right? So you're, in a weird way, you're giving them a gift too. And coming over and saying, hey, we got to dig through all this stuff. I'm not ready to go into the closet. I'm not ready to fill in the blank, but we got to start sorting through some stuff.
Right.
And you got to let 1 or 2 or 3 guys know in your life, I may call you at 2 a.m, and I need you to bring a box of cereal and some cheeseburgers and a beer and come over, right? And those 3 guys, man, you will give them a gift and they will grumble and like guys are, but man, it will give them a purpose to get up and show up and come over to your house, okay? You can't do this by yourself, is what I'm telling you, right?
Right.
So practically speaking, you got a life insurance policy. What other things exist out there?
Well, we are, other than our house, we're debt free.
Okay.
And I was kind of in a transition from a work standpoint.
Okay.
I've been a consultant for just over 10 years, and I made reasonable money, and but it's also something that had started to wear on me, and I was trying to think of what else I could do, because even though I'm now on Social Security, that's certainly not enough money to live the kind of life I want to live.
Right.
And so I was in transition of possibly changing jobs.
Okay.
Before this happened.
Okay.
And now, of course, there's 12. Without the wife and and things, there's even more possibilities that could open up.
That's right. So listen, there's gonna toggle back and forth between I can do anything, I can move, I can go be by grandkids, and it will toggle back to that amount of untethered freedom will feel like you are falling and there is no one to catch you. Okay?
Right.
So here's the important thing. You cannot judge your grief. It's going to be what it is. You're going to have up days and down days. That's why having people with you is really important. Get the life insurance stuff carried out, put it in a money market account and let it sit for 6 months, and don't move, don't run, don't go run and start a new job or quit your job. Be slow, be methodical. We'll be thinking about it and praying for you.
And Charles, I would just say, take the 6 months and call me. Call the Ken Coleman Show 6 months from now with those ideas about transition, and we'll definitely get you lined up. But I do think you take 6 months and dream a little bit, get healthy, have some fun, do all the things John said, then call me.
Life is full of firsts. As the first and longest-serving Christian health cost-sharing ministry, CHM has shared medical expenses for its members since 1981. We believe you should have the freedom to focus on your health while being supported by a community of believers, giving you the opportunity to create many more firsts.
insurance companies love to play the game where they see just how high they can jack up your rates for no reason. Great game, huh? Good news is it's not hard to beat them at their own game. All you have to do is check up on your policy every year or two to make sure you're getting the best price for your coverage. That's it. And what's even easier, not to mention free, is that you can hire one of our endorsed local provider or ELP insurance agents to do this for you. ELPs are independent agents who shop to find you the best coverage free of charge. They don't work for one insurance company, meaning they have the freedom to shop as many policies as it takes to find the one that's right for you. Don't sit back while your insurance company raises your rates for no reason, just to see if they can get more money out of you. Text AUTO to 33789 and put a trusted ELP agent on your team. That's AUTO to 33789. Blinds.com. Find out for yourself why Blinds.com is the #1 online retailer of custom window covering. You get free samples, free shipping, and with the new promos they run every month, you'll save even more. Use promo code Ramsey to get the best deal. Rules and restrictions apply. Today's question comes from Emerald in Kentucky. Emerald writes, I was taught your financial principles in high school and come from a poor family and have worked since I was 17. I'm currently 28 years old, debt-free, own my own home, and have my dream car too. I've never been married because my relationships never last long enough. I feel stuck and don't know what my next move should be. I have the means and the time to retire young, but I lack the path for it. What can I do when it's all on me to make these decisions?
I got to tell you, it irritates me when we get this onion in a written question.
I know. There's a lot here,
you and I both know there's about 4 or 5 questions that I would need to adequately ask and answer this, but we'll tag team this one. I'll address the I lack the path for it. You don't lack a path for retirement. You lack a purpose in your work.
Yep.
You're not quite sure what you want to be when you grow up. And again, we don't have him on the phone, but you're not clear enough to be confident to say, this is what I want to do. And when you can identify the mountaintop, to use a simple analogy for everybody. When I know that's the mountain I want to climb, well, now I can go train, and I can go talk to people who've done it. I can go hire a guide. I can go buy the equipment that will allow me to get up the mountain.
Yeah.
But when I don't know what mountain I want to climb, I'm just kind of just standing down in the valley. Well, there's a mountain range, and there's one. And boy, that can cause a lot of confusion. So I'll address that piece right there. Knowing where you want to go is what you must. It doesn't matter where you are, even if you got a map. If you don't know where you want to go, you still feel lost. And you got a map in front of you.
That's right.
That's what I hear in this.
So I think Emerald does a great job in this small little paragraph that he sent us in describing the futility of how some people interpret the American dream, which is get a house, get your dream car.
That's right.
Don't owe anybody any money, and all of your problems, they're a vapor. They go away.
Yeah.
And if you have no one to share your life with, if you don't have relationships, none of that crap matters. None of it.
Dude, this is what you and I do.
You can have nothing, but you got a gang to walk with you, and life works.
You have purpose in 2 major areas of your life, folks. And this is what Doc just addressed. Relational purpose, first and foremost. We are created as humans to connect.
Period.
Okay? Secondly, we are created as humans to contribute.
Yeah.
And that's work. Relationships, connection, work, contribution. I'm just telling you.
And then, way down that list, buying crap.
Yeah. So, but here's the point. He's got it. He's debt-free. Good on him. 28 years of age. Got his home. Good on him. He's got his dream car, and he's stuck. It's what he says right here. I feel stuck. Well, he's not stuck. He's lacking.
He's untethered.
He's lacking purpose in his relationships, connection. He's lacking purpose in his work. That's contribution.
Yeah.
Come on, folks.
And he did. Emerald's probably an awesome person.
Oh, there's no question.
Overcame a poor family.
Yeah.
Saw, I don't want to live this life.
Yes.
I'm gonna
disciplined.
work hard.
Yes.
Hard.
Yeah, absolutely.
So here's what you do. you go submit to other people.
Come on.
You go say, hey, man, you want to go hang out?
Yeah.
And you think it's hard to to win a deal? You think it's hard to grind out paying off your home? It's real hard to be vulnerable and say, hey, you want to go hang out? Because they might say no and reject you.
Hey, I want you to call Doc here on the Dr. John Deloney Show and say, hey, man, none of my relationships last very long, and then just let John dig. That's the issue.
That's right.
Why?
That's right.
And here's the deal, John. I don't know what's behind this, but I do know this. At some point, you got to choose to love somebody.
Yep. And harder, you got to choose to let other people love you.
Oh.
That's hard.
Oh, I thought I said something good, and you just went and trumped me. That was really good, folks.
Dude.
I'm serious. That was really good.
The mirror
That's exactly right.
sucks.
Maybe he's not loving himself enough to be loved.
Of course not. Because at some point, you look across the table and you say, why in the world would this person spend time with me?
Yeah.
Because I know what's going on in my head. I know what I think about other people. I know how I judge other people. I know I get pissed off and frustrated and fill in the blank. All my failures
Here's
I carry
what,
around.
John. Here I host a show helping people discover what they're supposed to do professionally, that contribution, that purpose. And I find out all the time, John, that we should be doing our show together some days. Because it's like you'll dig into a situation like this. You know why he hasn't figured out what he wants to do professionally? Because maybe he's been hurt deeply by somebody.
Yeah.
And the very thing that is keeping him from lasting in relationships, not loving himself and accepting love, may have something to do with why he can't figure out what he wants to do with his life. It's all connected is the point I'm making.
Absolutely. And when you are in fight or flight, here's what's beautiful about the world we live in, brother. You can fight and run and make a ton of money. You can fight and run and be real busy, work 24/7, 365.
People throw book deals at you, pay you big money because your whole story is, I'm a fighter, man.
And I can run. I can out-busy anybody.
Oh, yeah.
And what do we call it? Man, he's got a great work ethic.
Success.
Crushes it. Right?
He's a boss.
And he's completely alone. Right?
Total mess.
So what I'll tell you is I know a number of – here's how big relationships are to me, Ken. I don't think I've ever told this on this show.
Oh, this is exciting.
When I was interviewing here, Dave was showing me around all this cool stuff, and I mean it's enticing and it's exciting. I asked Dave, who do you listen to? Who do you hang out with?
Well, he obviously said me, but who else?
He said, number one, first and foremost, Ken Coleman, host of the Ken Coleman Show. But he rattled off a group of people that
his Eagles group
listens to, who call him and say, hey, why'd you say that, right? Who speak into his life. And I remember leaving here thinking, Dave and I are going to disagree on a lot of things, but I trust him.
Yep.
Because he's got people who speak into his life.
No question.
And why do all of this? Why get your dream car if you got no one to ride in it with you? Right?
Oh.
Right? Why?
Exactly. What's the whole point of having a house when you don't even use but 1 or 2 rooms? Listen.
I didn't mean to spend this much time on blinds.com question, but listen, they're getting their money out of this segment. If you were listening to this show,
that's right.
At the end of the day, if people at your funeral talk about what kind of car you drove, they talk about, there lies Tom, he had a giant house.
Yeah.
Or they talk about, wow, he really had a cool job.
Yeah.
Man. What you want people at your funeral to talk about is, man, he showed up. He was hilarious. We spent years together.
It's true.
We were married, like the last caller, for 47 years, and everyone thought they were her best friend, right?
Your legacy is the connection those people had with you. They talk about the connection and the contribution you made in your life.
Into their life. They all thought she was her best friend.
The people that you touched. So good.
It's about relationships, good folks. Do not do life alone. This is The Ramsey Show.
Hey folks, I got a great option to help you pay for your education. The Army National Guard. The Army National Guard believes you are the next greatest generation because you have proven that even in adversity, that you have what it takes to succeed. That's why they offer benefits like tuition assistance, career training, and a paycheck to help you avoid debt. No matter what your goals are, the Army National Guard can help you get there. Visit nationalguard.com to find out more.
Triple 825-5225. This is the Ramsey Show, taking your calls on life and work and purpose and money. Let's go to Shelby in Dallas, Texas. Hey, Shelby, what's going on?
Hey, how are you guys doing today?
Outstanding. How are you?
Doing well.
Very cool.
And
so what's up?
My question is about how to teach our kids the value of money. A little background on us. My husband and I are in our mid-30s. We've got 3 kids under 4, so we're starting young. Debt-free other than our home.
Wow, way to go.
We've paid off in a couple of years. And thanks to Dave and Chris, we are everyday millionaires working on being multimillionaires.
Wow, very cool. Congratulations, guys.
We've done, thank you all. We've done most of this journey without our kids seeing it. So I kind of have a 2-part question. First of all, how do we teach them a foundation of gratitude and appreciation, starting with toys and birthday gifts and vacations now, and then later on, we're blessed in a position to pay for cars in college. And then kind of part 2 of that is how open are we with our finances, our salaries, our budget meetings, and things like that?
Well, take on the easiest one first. That's the second part of that question. I'd be open to the point if they don't need to know salary and stuff like that, because kids can't be trusted with that information. They'll go to school and they just think they're talking to their friend. They're like, "Hey, my dad makes this much." So I would not reveal how much you all make, but as far as having your budget meetings in front of them. Mm-hmm. They see you guys at the kitchen table or wherever your spot is. Talk to them about line items and what the budget is made of. So instructing through transparency, I think that's a good place right there. I'd be very open about budget and how you don't do debt and all that kind of stuff. I just wouldn't share how much you all make.
I actually, Shelby, I asked Dave that question.
Oh, you did?
Off air, how do I walk? Like, I always want my kids involved in these conversations. I want my son to see these numbers, and that's exact same wisdom there, right? Which, like, I don't tell the kids our salary, but I want them to know, here's how much that light bill in Dallas, Texas costs. It's expensive, right?
Oh, yeah.
I want them
openly
to know those
gripe
things.
when I have to go into the emergency fund and fix the car. I want them to hear that.
That's right.
I'm like, oh, man.
So, hey, Shelby, one thing that I love, and I may be a slightly sadistic parent. I love it when we're going to do our budget meeting and I tell my son, hey, you got to come sit at the table and listen. And he goes, I kind of love that, right? And I don't do it every time.
What age do you start at that?
I
think ours are really too little.
Yeah, I mean, 1, 2, and 4 is too little, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what you want to do is think of the words you use. Think of they're picking up your body. They're absorbing you. They're picking up your body language. And so if every month y'all sit down to do a budget and y'all are yelling and fighting and you're like rolling your eyes at each other, your kids will understand that money is a thing to avoid. It causes relational conflict. If it is not silly and absurd, but if y'all say, hey, we're going to have our budget meeting, and you say those words out loud, and y'all sit down at a table, and y'all are prepared, and you're planning, and the kids are playing on the floor below you, they begin to absorb that this is a natural rhythm of a family. This is what people do every month. They plan, and I would announce it to your kids. This is budget meeting time, and so y'all are going to play on the floor while mom and dad talk about how much money we made, how much things cost, how much we're going to save, how much we're going to give, and you just begin to teach them that language, and it doesn't become a The birds and the bees talk is much better when it is a part of your daily interactions with your kids and not when it's some weird event. They remember the event, right?
I'm uncomfortable already thinking about it. I've had to do it 3 times. Shelby, I'd say this. I think the 5-year-old, I think once that 4-year-old becomes a 5-year-old, kindergarten age, there's no magic age here. This isn't a rule. But I think you could start the conversation about chores.
Absolutely.
And start paying them $1 a week or $2 a week or whatever.
That's right.
They're going to begin to see a really natural relationship with money. When I put forth effort, in other words, work, I get compensated. And that's a wonderful little tool before they ever understand budgets. Is just, hey, here's the deal. And I think we still sell them here at Ramsey Solutions, but we have them. We're selling them 3 or 4 years ago at least, but my kids still have the
piggy banks.
The piggy banks that we sell at Ramsey Solutions with the little red rubber tops, and it's spin and it's save. And you know, here's the deal. Like, they've learned to tithe, and they kind of get this whole conversation just really natural, as John said. So I think from that standpoint, showing them the value of work and making them earn stuff, I think is huge. I mean, to this day, Josie is 12, and I don't know if your daughter's into this, little Josephine, but these fidget things, there's all kinds of these little poppets, and they're futzing around on these things, and they're really popular with 6th grade girls apparently. And so she wanted to buy several, and I was like, babe, I'm not going to keep buying. You've got 5. You want 15. Go buy them. So you know what? She showed up the other night, and she said, hey, Mom, what can I do? What can I do? What can I do? And Josie's motivated. And I told her, I said, I'm proud of you. She created a checklist for a week, and she cut a deal with us. We'll pay you this much. I'm happy to do that.
That's fantastic. So, Shelby, I'm getting into Ken's territory here, but here's a cool thing that happens when you start teaching kids about work and monetary rewards. Is it's a great time to talk about their role in the family, their purpose, what they contribute. They begin to learn deep in their soul, this family does not run without me. I'm a part of this thing. And so what we did with our kids is we broke up. Here's a few jobs that we do in our house that you don't get paid for. It's part of
That's right.
All of us are together on this. And then, man, you got to go get on the riding mower and mow. I'm going to pay you for that because that stinks. It's hot.
But I'm not paying you to clean up your room.
No, that's a part of being a human being inside the Deloney house, right? Yeah. And so one other thing, you talked about gratitude. My wife is the one that really drove this home, teaching our kids. When they get gifts, they don't play with them until there is a thank you card written. And
that's good.
They go through an entire dramatic process, and the writing is awful. Sometimes it looks like it was written with somebody's feet, right? It's not great. It's about the exercise. And
it's the thought that counts and the correlation it makes.
Right. Yep. And another thing that we do, then again, this is my wife, they created bags of food that stay in the car that we can pass out when folks are on the side of the road and they need money or help. And here's what we're trying to do. We're trying to teach our kids that the life they are growing up in is not everybody's life. Yeah. In fact, it's very few people's life. And you got to walk through life with your eyes wide open for people you can serve and you can help and be a part of. It's about gratitude.
So your wife and my wife, dude, we really outmarried ourselves. There's no question about it. 2 things that I'll share with you that Stacy did, Shelby, and we learned this from a marriage mentor, a couple that mentored us early on, and they did this with their kids. We stopped doing this, by the way, when the kids got to 6th grade because of the type of parties. But for each of our 3 kids' birthday parties, starting at the age of 3, we would invite their friends over, and their presents, the kids' present was a really awesome party. And we told all the parents, don't send gifts with your kid. They were like, what? We said, don't send gifts. You come and you bring food, you bring clothing, you bring a toy. And so all 3 Coleman kids, their birthday party was an awesome bounce house or some cool experience. That was the gift. They didn't get toys from us. Yep. They didn't get toys from their friends Because in today's world, you do a birthday party for your 5-year-old, it's like Christmas.
Like the Toys R Us truck
15
backs
kids
up.
show up, and every parent's trying to outdo the other parent. And so we learned this. So what we said was, and people, it took them a while. A couple people tried to sneak a gift, and we went, please take it back. and so each of our 3 kids, Shelby, would then take everything that was brought, and they would take it to a children's hospital if it was toys. They'd take it to a food shelter if it was food. That was really, really a beautiful thing. And our kids learned that the party, the relationships, the friends, that was your gift.
That's the magic, right?
Not a toy.
So at the end of the day, if you distill all the things that Ken and I just said down into one word, it's intentionality. You can't screw up intentionality with your kids, right? Be present with them. Think through it. Let them see your budget. Let them see the fun and the smiles and the frustrations with budgets. Make them be grateful. Teach them gratitude. I guess you can't make them be grateful. Teach them gratitude. This is the Ramsey Show, 888-825-5225. Let's go out to Jacob in my old hometown of Abilene, Texas. Hey, Jacob, what's going on, man?
Hey, how's it going?
We're doing great. How about you?
I'm doing good. I'm blessed. Thank you.
Outstanding, brother. How can we help?
So I'm 28 years old. I'm recently divorced. I have custody of my oldest. We live in an RV right now. I just sold a $45,000 truck yesterday, which brings my debt down to $21,000.
Okay.
So I'm without a vehicle. I do have a work truck. I'm clearing over $120,000 a year in the oil and gas industry.
Okay.
So my question is, do I just start making minimum payments on my debt, or do I go and try to get me a $15,000 truck financed to help me with my lawn care business on the side?
So let's start at the very beginning here. How much debt do you got, brother?
I got $21,565.
Break that down for me.
I got it.
Is it credit cards? Is it student loans? What is it?
So I have $16,000 in an RV that I'm living in, which
Okay.
I'm debating on selling, and then the rest is just personal line of credit that I owe.
Okay.
How much could you get for the RV? Do you know?
So I owe 16, and I probably could get maybe around 12 to 14 for it.
And then where would you live?
I would probably rent an apartment.
Yes. So I would sell that thing tomorrow.
Yeah.
Unless, here's the deal. Unless you are, I know a lot of roughnecks out there in West Texas that will go live in those things in the field and then come back. And so if that's what you have to do right now, then you can absolutely hit the gas on paying that thing off in 2 months and 3 months. And I'm talking, don't go out to eat, don't go do anything cool, and get that thing paid off. If you're not doing that, if you're actually working, are you at Wells there in Abilene, or are you out there in Midland or Odessa?
I'm in Big Spring.
Okay. Man, I would sell that thing tomorrow.
Yeah.
And even if you have to go get a bridge loan for $4,000, if you're making that kind of money, though, you should have $4,000. You can just go pay that thing off, or pay the balance on it, and then be done with it, and then go get yourself a 1 or 2 bedroom apartment there in Abilene, Texas. Not a lot of money. And don't take out another loan. You were working so hard to clear all this stuff. You just sold a beautiful $40,000 truck. You are too far down the road, man, to take any steps back. Does your work truck? Go ahead.
My brother tells me, he's like, there is a such thing as good debt. So I'm like, well,
there is not.
You know, I work a 10 to 4 schedule, so on my 4 days off, I like to mow grass for extra income.
Perfect.
So my idea was to invest in getting a trailer. And now that I don't have my truck, I was like, well, maybe I could get me like a $10,000 truck, something reliable, so I can do that on the side still. But I was also thinking, like, I'm so close to getting out of debt, I could just give me a $3,000, $4,000 car, Civic, or something.
Yes.
And,
Yes.
Do not borrow
Yeah.
money.
First of all, I know he's your brother, but you don't need to take any more financial advice from your brother.
Do you take romantic advice from your brother?
I hope not.
No.
Okay, well then you put financial advice right underneath that. Okay, you're done with that. You can still love him, give him a hard time at Thanksgiving, but you're done taking money advice from him.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay.
And so now, dude, I spent a year shoving a mower and a weed eater and a gas can and a blower in the back of an 88 Tercel hatchback. You can figure it out until you can earn enough money to buy a $5,000 truck that will get you around that big the big country area.
John, listen. So right now I got a 15-year-old kid. It's going to be 16 in November, so I'm already starting to look, all right?
Yep.
I have never been on Facebook Marketplace in my life until 3 weeks ago. Okay.
It's a dark, scary place, man.
So somebody told me about it, and so I go on. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. Here's my point. You can find a truck for $3, $4, $5 easy. That'll get you where you need to in Abilene. Don't pay $10,000 for a truck. $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, or it didn't even have to be a truck. Get an old SUV or something. You wouldn't believe what's out there. I mean, seriously.
I know. And Jacob, I lived in Abilene, Texas, in I think it was 2009 or 10, when it didn't rain for 100 straight days.
It's like a dust bowl.
And it was 100 degrees every day, and the lawn guys were up a creek. And so what you don't want to do is have a $10,000 truck and a new riding mower and all this new top gear and then have it roll over on you.
Yeah.
Okay? Don't borrow money. You're so close, man.
Yeah.
You're so close.
Yes, sir.
Give your little kid – how old is your little boy?
He's 10 years old.
All right. Man, y'all go get an apartment. Get out of an RV. Sell the RV. Go get into an apartment. Yeah. It's hard, man, because you're close, and now you want to start like, I got a scheme. I got a thing. You're a grinder. You're making 6 figures in the field. You work your butt off. You're a hard worker. Don't skip steps, man. Just keep taking the small ones.
Get rid of the trailer.
Keep going.
I love the apartment idea. Get one with a pool so the 10-year-old can flop around. You guys have a big time.
You can throw him in the pool. It feels good for everybody.
Throw him in the pool. I love that.
That's exactly right. All right, let's go out to Chris in Lexington. Hey, what's up, Chris?
Hey, man, how's it going?
Good. Hey, we're getting up against the clock, so jump right into your question.
All right, so I'm 20-year-old. I got a paid-off double wide. It's a $100,000 double wide. And so I moved an hour and a half away from college. And now I got a new job lined up that whenever I graduate, the pay goes up a lot, like $65,000.
Okay.
And so I have some family and friends tell me that I should sell this double wide. But if I sell the double wide and get a house, would it be better to move the double wide whenever I graduate and get this new job, or would it be better to sell the double wide and then go buy a house?
You pay the double wide off, correct?
Yeah, the double wide's paid off.
Okay, well, how much would a house be in this area that you're going to have your job? A house that you would how much?
A lot more, like 150, 200,000, something like that, because the cost of living is insane compared to where the house is sitting at right now.
You'll have to forgive me. I know nothing about double wides.
Here's what I know about
shockingly, but
it's losing value every day that you live in it.
Right.
But it's also paid off.
It's also paid off. So my question is, do you have to buy a parcel of land, I'm assuming, to park said double wide on? I'm assuming that's the case.
Okay, yeah. So I would have to buy, like, any kind of piece of property. But the cost to take the double wide over there would probably be around $8,000, and to set everything up, around $12,000 altogether, including the price of the land. So probably like $30,000, $35,000, something like that.
So Chris, here's what I'm doing if I'm you. I would sell that thing.
Yeah.
I would take the stupid tax loss. You'll learn a good lesson to not buy homes with wheels on them, and I would go rent an apartment and call it good.
Yep.
Go make a whole bunch of money until I could put 10 to 20% down on a house.
Exactly.
And I would head that route.
Yeah, you don't need to buy a house. Congrats on this work that you're getting as a result of hustling. I agree. Let's get out of the double wide. Let's cut our losses and rent for a while. It's not a sin to rent.
No, and you're going to get a chunk of money. Put that money into a money market account and just sit on it. You don't need to go bananas with it. Just hold it until you got enough money till you find a place in this new area where you're going to live. The housing market may correct itself. It may just keep on. Who knows, man? We're making that up as we go. But You don't have to do anything now. You feel this pressure. I got this new job, so I've got to do. You don't. Just go move in, get a job, get a 1-bedroom apartment.
Yeah.
Live cheap, man.
Yeah.
You are on your own.
Wow. We didn't ask.
Huh.
I regret this. I want to know if he had a redwood deck on it. That's in a country song somewhere. I can't pull the song right now. Maybe a Sammy Kershaw song. You know what I'm talking about? You don't, Texas boy? No. You really don't know?
No, you lost me at Red Deck.
Do you know who Sammy Kershaw is?
I do not.
Wow. James? You're Mr. Music?
He quizzes me on his show for music stuff and gives me a hard time for not knowing, so I have no sympathy for him right now.
That's awesome.
I think the most stunning revelation from that last caller was that you don't know anything about trailer homes.
Look at that was above my pay grade. I was looking at James for some help. Thought he might fire something away on the screen. Like I didn't know I assumed you had to have land for it.
Yeah.
You can't just. There's not like a rental spot. For
you
your
can't
double
do that.
wide.
Oh, you can. Yeah, you can move it into a special place.
I bet that gets kind of pricey though.
It can. That's right. Look at us all learning new things.
What would you do if I bought a double wide?
I would rent one of the rooms. Hey, another hour in the books, good folks. Thanks for joining us. We'll be right back on The Ramsey Show.
Have a friend or family member that needs a daily dose of Ramsey advice in their life? Let them know about the Ramsey Call of the Day podcast. It's a quick hit of advice about life and money in under 10 minutes. Check out the Ramsey Call of the Day podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. This is The Ramsey Show.
You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career.
You are the hero in your story.
Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from their dollar car rental studio, this is The Ramsey Show, where America hangs out to have a conversation about your life and your money and your work. I'm John Deloney, joined here with best-selling author and national sensation Ken Coleman.
Oh, wow.
You're a sensation now, by the way.
James, can we cut that? And I'd like to play that clip on my phone when I walk into the house tonight to the three teens. Ladies and gentlemen, national sensation.
Just so you'll know, in fact, I'd like y'all to start calling me, not Dad, but sensation.
National sensation.
National sensation. 888-825-5225. We're taking your calls on life, on money, on anything that's going on. We're here. Ken, how are you, man?
Well, I'll tell you what. I am living the dream, man. We get to do what we love. We get to help people, and we get to do it with fun people. And we're having a blast today, you and I. We always have a good time.
I like it.
James is in a good mood, so that's always good. You know, James Childs, everybody knows his name, but they don't understand. He can be really tough. Quiet guy, very tough. Today he's smiling.
Wonderful person. He's
a wonderful man. Wonderful man. So everybody's in a good mood. We're here for you folks. We're excited, and we've had a good show. Good show.
Yes. And so we are taking your calls, 888-825-5225. Anything you got going on in your life, give us a shout. Life, work, purpose, relationships, money. We're here. 888-825-5225. Let's go out to Boston and talk to Frank. What's up, Frank? How we doing, man?
Good. How you doing?
Outstanding. What's up? How can we help?
I'm trying to figure out what to do. I'm 60, and I'm burned out of the 40-hour work week. I want to cut down, and I don't know. You know, I'm trying to find something that's less hours. Right now, I have a job, and I'm trying to work with them to go on a 4-day work week, but it might be tough. I'm not sure, and I have a bad commute. But I was thinking of doing it one more year and just quitting and taking a year off and figuring out what I want to do. I want to keep working, but less.
Oh, that's great.
That makes sense.
Yeah, well, Frank, that's really good news. I'm assuming here that this idea of taking a year off and figuring out what you want to do means that you're in a good financial situation, that you're not in debt, and that you don't have any kind of financial pressure. Is that a correct assumption?
Yes.
That's great. Listen, we don't need to take a year. I think we take the next 4 or 5 minutes and figure it out, because I just believe a guy like you who's 60 years old, who's at a place of being burned out, I just know that your brain and your heart have been throwing signals up, and they may have actually connected, but you're not quite sure how to get there. Maybe you've got some fear, maybe you've got some doubt. I just don't believe you called today with zero ideas of what you would do. Am I right, Frank?
You're right.
I knew it. So, Frank, let's just be real, all right? Frank from Boston. No nonsense, man. Throw it out there. What would you do tomorrow if you knew you couldn't fail and it was going to be the hours that you wanted in the twilight of your work career? What would you do, Frank? I know you've thought about it. What would you do?
I think I would. Well, up in Maine, they have those 3-day flea markets. I think I would sell junk. I love doing that. I love setting up. And,
dude, you're a stud, Frank.
Frank, I got to tell you something. You never want to stereotype anybody, but that's in the range of what I thought you might say. Didn't you?
Oh, no.
Really? You didn't think so?
I thought he was going to say, you know what?
No, he likes stuff.
I wanna open up an orphanage. I thought it was gonna be.
Really?
Yeah, Frank, you just became a hero of mine.
He loves junk. Frank, why do you love junk?
I like vintage electronics. I work in high tech, and I'm burned out of high tech, but I like it as a hobby.
Yeah, you love the idea of fixing stuff up that still has some value.
Right, that, and I'm not sure how much money I could really make, but. I've also thought about there's actually an amusement park there. I would do that part-time. I do a few different things.
Listen, I love this. Frank, listen to me. Frank, what's keeping you from doing that?
My family is kind of, I have to move away. I'd be alone. I'd be isolated. I'd kind of be far away, and that's the problem. Right now, my job's like a cash cow, and I'd like to stay there for as long as I can, and then.
All right, so hold on. Let's address that issue. Okay, because I think that is the big thing. And by the way, I respect that. I think that's a legitimate hurdle. But I think that takes into account an assumption that's false. And that assumption is that Maine, that particular part of Maine, which I think you really like, is the only place that you can do that type of work in this twilight. You could do that stuff in Boston. I mean, Boston, if you're in the greater Boston metropolitan area, there's got to be some theme parks around there. There's got to be plenty of flea markets and stuff like that in areas where you can do that kind of work. True or false?
It's true. It's seasonal, though, so I have to do something in the winter also.
Yeah, but Frank.
Well, there's indoor ones, too.
Yeah, man. Listen.
Well, and the other side of that is, at what point are you going to put your oxygen mask on first?
Yeah.
What's that?
Well, at some point, you got to put on your oxygen mask, man. Or this burnout is you're going to slowly drown, and the story you will have told yourself as you go underwater is, man, look what I did for everybody else.
Well, here's the deal. Frank, you're already burned out. Your words, not mine. So John's absolutely right. What he means by put your mask on, on the airplane instructions, they say if the cabin loses oxygen, the mask drops from the ceiling, they always tell you to put yours on first. So I understand you want to be near family, but, how far away from family would you be?
A couple of hours. Not really not that far, but my family, 20 minutes is a long time.
Well, but wait a second. John's on to something.
That sounds like a them problem, brother. It sounds like you're using your family as an excuse to not go do what you want to do.
You're totally using your family's excuse. You're scared. Big old tough Frank is scared.
Come on, Frank from Boston.
Yeah, he's scared. Who are you worried about? Who's this family? Is it sisters, brothers? What is it?
Yeah, all of them, and brother, sister. My mother's getting old, so...
Again, Frank, 2 hours, man.
That's a grocery store run.
The way
Texas.
you drive, that's 90 minutes. Come on, Frank. I know you drive fast.
2 to 4 hours, something like that.
Hey, dude, you got to live your life. You got to live your life.
I know.
Hey, but the real thing behind this, Frank, underneath all this, if your family only wants you around for your money, they're taking your soul from you. Okay? And if you work like crazy so that other people, your brothers and sisters, will be quote unquote proud of you, or you're the one who did it, whatever. Man, you're living a fake false life.
I'd go to Maine and Frank, I'd get an awesome little cabin and tell the brothers and sisters to throw mama in the car 2 weekends out of the month, and let's have some lobster.
That's right. They can drive
some
too,
clam
Frank.
chowder.
Hey, you worked really hard to put yourself in this position. Go enjoy your life, Frank. Go sell junk. That just sounds awesome.
It's awesome. Frank, do what you want to do. You've earned it. You're 60, man. Life is short. Get after it.
This is The Ramsey Show.
Stop paying your overpriced wireless provider and switch to Pure Talk. They use the same network as the larger providers for much less. For just $30 a month, get unlimited talk, text, and 6 gigs of data with no contract. The average family saves over $70 a month by switching to Pure Talk. Just go to puretalk.com and enter the promo code Ramsey to save 50% off your first month. Pure Talk, simply smarter wireless.
Tired of feeling stuck with your money? Like you'll never get out of debt or save enough for the future? Listen, it doesn't have to be that way. You can make progress with your money and faster than you think. But the only way to make it happen is with a budget. That's why you need a Ramsey Plus membership. You'll get access to the premium version of our Every Dollar budgeting app, where you'll plan out every dollar you'll spend and save before the month begins. Connect your budget to your bank so you never miss a transaction. Get custom budget reports that show you where you can find more money to put towards your goals. When you budget and get intentional with your money, you will make progress fast. And you can start budgeting for free today. Text TRIAL to 33789 for a free trial of Ramsey Plus. That's TRIAL to 33789. All right, let's go out to Los Angeles, California, and talk to Alex. Hey, Alex, what's going on?
Hello?
Hey, what's up?
Hey, how's it going?
Good, what's up?
Thank you. Oh, okay. Well, I have a situation here at home. I'm living at home. I live with my mother and her boyfriend, and I'm having problems with them at home. It's not a good situation. I've been having fights with them, and
how old are you?
We're not really talking. I'm 29.
Oh,
29.
Yeah, move out yesterday.
Yes.
Yeah,
why? That's what I was.
Why are you still living there?
Well, because I was living in Washington. I was living on my own, but things happen.
We don't do vague and cryptic on this show.
Yeah.
What things happened?
There's a reason why you're living there. Why are you living there?
Well, because I didn't do well in Washington. I made a lot of mistakes, and I had to move out from my apartment. They were evicting me. And so I came back, and I had problems with my father. I was living with him for a while. And then I came with my mother because when COVID hit, they kicked me out. And
So hold on. So you're living there because financially you can't live on your own?
I suppose I can, but it would be with like in a room or like a garage converted.
Okay.
Alex, do you have addiction issues?
No.
Okay. So there's something that is following you around that happens to be you. What are you bringing to all these situations that are making it hard for people to live with you?
I don't know. I suppose it just...
Alex, people have told you, man. Okay, so you get angry, you get frustrated?
I get upset with them, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you ever sat down and talked to somebody about it before?
Not really. I never thought that it was something that I wanted to or I should have needed to do.
So what I would tell you is just if you step back and look at the data that life has presented you, we tell you that getting angry, getting frustrated results in, for whatever reason, your response to different situations, whether it's in Washington, whether it's with your dad, now it's with your mom and her boyfriend, you are the common denominator there. And I'm not going to beat you up for that, but I want you to say, I can continue to go to place to place to place and be the common denominator, or I have reached a point where I need to go talk to somebody, preferably a professional, to get some insight into what tools am I not bringing to these situations, or what am I contributing to my continued inability to get along with other people that we live with, right? So that's not why you called, but I do think you are worth getting to the bottom of those questions. Yeah. Okay?
But get out. Okay. Get out. What's keeping you from getting out? Is it a good paying job? Is it the fact that you could live in a converted garage or a one-room deal with somebody else and you just don't want that?
Or you can move to Kansas and rent a 3-bedroom apartment. Like, why are you stuck there?
Yeah.
Well, I guess because I want to say it's my home. You know, my family is a immigrant origin family.
Yeah.
Ever since I could remember, like literally, ever since I could remember, it was from one house to another, from that house to another, from one apartment to another, and we finally landed here, and it sucks because this is where I have a lot of my memories since I was 11 years old, and I don't know. It's hard for me because I'm going to miss it.
Yeah.
This is where I've had a lot of my memories.
Yeah, I get that. And I don't want to in any way to minimize that. Yeah. But you called us saying, hey, I'm 29 years old. I'm living with my mom and her boyfriend, and we're fighting, and I want to get out. And we're telling you, get out. And the way to get out is, one, we got to have the financial means to do so. I think you have the financial means to get out. I understand it's going to hurt, but you can come back and visit. And I would suggest to you that if you take John's advice and you begin to get some help and get healthy, we can visit. We can come back. And we can still hang out in that house and have a better relationship with mom in a place of wonderful memories. But you're 29. You need to live your own life. And so it's time to move on. And I understand it's not going to be perfect, a converted garage or whatever. I understand. But here's the deal. It's progress. And if you decide to move out and you go, this is just a stepping stone for me, and I'm going to take that desire to not be a tumbleweed as my life is presented to me. I've had to move from place to place to place. That's made me feel very unstable and all the things, all that stuff. I mean, my heart breaks for you on that. And I think that's real. But you can decide to say, I'm going to change the pattern. It stops with me. But it starts by me getting out of the house, getting healthy, and creating my own path.
How does that sound, Alex?
That sounds great. That's really what I want to do. I really want to become not only just financially but in life stable.
Yeah,
I do want to enjoy life in all aspects.
Good for you.
I do have more than just one goal.
Yes,
and I can't do it in this space, in this situation. It's a very negative.
That's right.
It's just very negative.
That's right.
My question was is that I do want to learn a trade. Because I think with learning a trade, I don't know if I'm wrong or right, but I have better means of financial.
Absolutely right.
Situation.
Alex, what trade are you most interested in?
Well, I was thinking in carpentry.
Fantastic. Are you talented with your hands? So you've always been kind of, even if it's a rough, if it's an undeveloped skill, but you're pretty good at building things, fixing things, putting things together. You got that talent? Yes or no?
I like doing it.
I didn't ask you if you like it. I said, do you have some talent at it? I mean, let me tell you.
Are you good at it?
I'm a guy who can barely hammer a nail. All right? It's just full confession here. I'm a disaster. No talent. My brother, guy could build stuff out of a piling. He's unbelievable. Do you have the talent, Alex? Can you build stuff? Do you have that construction, that carpentry type talent? Alex?
Yeah, I guess not. I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know? You do know. If I talk to people who know you, would they say Alex has always been pretty good at his hands? He was just always natural, knows how to use a saw. He can fix a little thing. He can do some trim. Come on. Yes or no? Do you have the raw talent? Yes or no?
Yes.
All right, then.
There we go.
Then pursue that trade. That's all I wanted to know. It wasn't a trick question. I just want to make sure you're not delusional. I want to make sure you got that talent, because if you got the raw talent, John, I can develop the skill. Hey, listen, go sign up for a trade school. Here's the thing. Why don't you drive around a couple construction sites in L.A. and walk up and go, hey, my name's Alex.
I'm here to work.
I've held down a great job. This is who I am. I'm responsible. I got my driver's license. I want to learn the trade. I'll start doing anything. I'll just start shooting 3/4-inch plywood up to the second floor. I'll be a laborer. That's what I did, John, in one of my sophomore, not one of my sophomore summer in college. They need laborers. Get in. Get on the work site, and the next thing you know, they're going to hand you a hammer.
They're going to teach you how to do it. That's
they're
right.
going to teach you how to do it. Come on, Alex. Take control of your future, man.
And listen, Alex, when you are a part of an immigrant family, when you move from house to house to house to house to house, that being untethered, that frustration, that anger, man, you're not by yourself. Go see somebody.
Yeah.
Go talk to somebody and say, hey, I need to learn some skills. Okay? You're worth it, your family's worth it, and your future legacy is worth it. This is The Ramsey Show. Give us a call at 888-825-5225. I'm John Deloney, joined here with Ken Coleman, and we're taking your calls on pretty much everything. Life, relationships, work, purpose, money, all of it. 888-825-5225. Let's go out to Tina in Atlanta. What's up, Tina? How we doing?
Sorry, I'm Tinon.
Oh, Tinon. Sorry about that, brother.
Yes. Thank you.
Tinon.
Thanks for taking my call.
You got it, brother. What's up?
Thanks, Ken and Dr. Deloney, for doing all that you do. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. So what's up, man?
Yes, sir. So I've been working for this company for about 12 years.
Okay.
I am in the medical field. So been working with my supervisor for the past 10 years. And our relationship grew as a coworker. Now he's my supervisor. And we've been working well in the beginning. However, as time went by, as recently as about a year ago, the organization has grew, and the responsibilities for me has grown as well. And my supervisor basically started to really disrespect me. Although my skill level has gone up. In fact, I am one of the few employees there who understand and knows the system inside and out, and all the things that we do there. So I'm having to teach junior personnel, and as well as involved in a lot of decision-making process. However, a constant undermining from my supervisor, as well as a disrespecting, has gotten to a point where I'm considering going part-time.
Okay.
Because instead of arguing, trying to change the person, I don't believe the person will change. I was thinking about going part-time so I can gain some of my sanity back. Multiple times I spoke with him about his behaviors, and he acknowledged it, and he said he would change in his own ways, but I just don't know whether he will.
No, he's not. He's not going to.
Yeah, no chance.
And you're absolutely right, Tinon, to say, hey, this is a problem. You've done everything that I would ask you to do. You answered all my questions, except for why are you considering going part-time instead of just leaving altogether? Explain what's behind that thought.
So what I'm promised recently is that promised for promotion in the department, and also
by who? Who promised you a promotion?
Well, he has.
Time out.
Come on, man.
I mean, really? I can't even believe you just threw. I can't even believe you just threw that at me.
No,
let me ask you. Do you think he's going to promote you?
No, I question that.
All right, so let's not waste any more time.
Tinon, I'll answer that. You question it, I'll answer it. No,
he's not going to. So again, why part-time as opposed to just saying this season is over? I've got a lot of talent, I've got a lot of experience, and I'm out. Bye. That was John. John has a wonderful singing voice. Why? Why part-time? Why?
Right. So financially, we're pretty secure. Wife and I, we do pretty well. The money is not an issue. In fact, we followed Ramsey steps, and we are now completely debt-free except mortgage.
Okay,
which will be paid
I
off
get
in
it.
2 years.
That's awesome. You're avoiding my question. Why is part-time an option? Why not just leave?
You're answering a purpose question with a dollar amount.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I enjoy people there. I enjoy my doctors that I work with.
Great.
And it's a great place, except this immediate supervisor has been it's pretty heavy weight on my career.
Is there a, you've done the right thing ethically, which is to go to the person that you're struggling with and say, here's what I'm struggling with about you. And they've acknowledged, I'm failing you and I will do better. And then they have repeatedly not done better. Is there another person to then go to?
Well, there's a supervisor above him, which I believe is going to be a moot point because that supervisor is going to be relying on him to manage the department that my immediate supervisor is in charge of.
Yeah, so there doesn't seem like there's a fix. So here's what this boils down to, and I'm not trying to be unkind. I'm not trying to paint you in a corner, but brother, you have two options. You either put up with this, and it's going to eventually eat away at you and suck your soul out of your body, and I would suggest that it's starting to, which is why you called today, or you walk away. But the part-time option isn't an option. That's just delaying the inevitable. So you have two options. So here's the deal. If you want to be eventually miserable there, then keep doing what you're doing, and then do the part-time version, because all it's going to mean is you're part-time miserable. But you have to choose. I understand you've got relationships there. I get that. You're a wonderful dude. You got a great heart. It's obvious. But all those kind people and all the nice things in the world isn't going to change the fact of what I just said. And it's going to happen. You will resent, you will get miserable, and then you're going to leave, and then you're going to be unhealthy. I think right now you're kind of starting to see, and you've put up with it for a year. How much longer do you want to put up with it? How much?
Right.
I know I'm right. So what are you going to do? You're scared. You're terrified.
As uncomfortable as it is, well, starting in any new organization is just it's just that. Yeah, no one wants that.
Okay, so here's the deal.
It's one of the most stressful things. Moving.
Yeah, it is. Except for the fact that you're right now. You're basically saying to me, Ken, I think I'd rather be miserable than uncomfortable.
I'd rather take half of my salary and go part time. Instead of making $50,000 or $100,000, I'd rather just make half.
Tinon, listen to me. You just said, I'd rather be miserable than uncomfortable. Does that make any sense to you?
It doesn't.
All right, I'm turning you over to my colleague who's the professional psychologist. Now that I've diagnosed it, I'm not able to fix it. Other than what I told you to do, you need to leave. And you're very qualified. I'm sorry, I'm preaching for 20 more seconds. Tinon, listen to me. You're qualified, man. You're good at what you do. You've got a tremendous amount of value. You live in Atlanta, Georgia, one of the top metropolitan areas in the United States. A little bit of uncomfortableness is just part of growth. But you better choose growth or misery. Those are your choices.
What are you going to choose, man?
Yeah, well, my wife thinks that I am thinking about all the excuses to stay because I'm afraid of making changes.
That's what I just said.
Yeah.
Get your wife on the phone. Can we patch her in, please? I'm kidding.
She's at work.
Yeah, I know.
Listen.
She's right, by the way. Your wife is right.
Your wife is almost always
right. One more
right.
thing that I wanted to tell you guys so you can have an insight on this. I know I'm taking a lot of time, but basically, my supervisor, his role, I mean, he basically had moved up in organization because of the work that I've done for him. Things were built on my back, so to speak. And I know that, and he knows that. That's why he had pull me away from different departments. Every time he moved up, he brought me in.
I know, but listen.
And I realized that I was the guy who was making things a lot easier for him.
Okay.
And
Wait, so here's what we're going to give you. I'm going to give you a small to medium-sized golf clap. Congratulations. You're an incredible worker. You are brilliant. You are valued by an organization. This guy doesn't even respect you or like you, and he's still going to promote you because he knows how good you are. And you don't believe in your own value. You let a guy that is running over you and stealing from you intellectually and spiritually dictate your life. Your wife is sick of it. Ken Coleman talked to you for 4 minutes, and he's the career expert.
Oh, by the way, I'm sick of it as well.
He can't even breathe. Yeah.
It took 2 minutes for me to get sick of it. Listen, you're allowing yourself to be abused.
That's exactly right.
I mean,
and you are worth more than this.
Yeah.
Here's what I want you to do. I want you to sit down with your wife tonight, and I want you to say, honey, I'm done. And now we're going to start painting a new picture of what tomorrow's going to look like. And then let her speak into it because she's been dying to speak into it for a long, long time. And then you're going to be about this weekend, next weekend, you're going to be about making your move because it's time. And yes, it's going to be stressful. Then you're going to find peace that you haven't had in years and years.
You got this, T-Non. You got this.
Got it. Solving problems on The Ramsey Show. Today's scripture is Psalm 37, 23 through 24. The Lord makes firm the steps of the one who delights in him. Though he may stumble, he will not fall, for the Lord upholds him with his hand. Jim Rohn says, if you are not willing to risk the usual, you will have to settle for the ordinary. If you are not willing to risk the usual, you will have to settle for the ordinary. Way to go, Jim. All right, let's go out to Lawrence in Tacoma, Washington. Hey, Lawrence, what's going on?
Hey, guys. How are you guys doing?
Outstanding. How are you, man?
Pretty good. Hey, I just want to say thanks for what you guys both do. John, I was listening to your podcast, and I appreciate all your sound effects.
Thank you. I'm looking at James right now, who clearly does not, and I need you to know, Lawrence, you made my day, and I appreciate it.
No problem.
Heavy point of tension there between those guys, and you just made it more tense. So that's great.
Nope. you just moved the teeter-totter a little bit in my way. So thank you.
Okay, there
Tip
you go.
the scale.
Got you some more points. That's good.
So what's up, man?
Hey, so my question is, just to give a little context, I was actually listening to you guys on Tuesday. I think it was Ken and Dave that were on, and we're talking about how hot the market is for used cars. So we owe about $14,500 on my wife's car, and so I was thinking, oh, okay, well, I heard you guys say that, so I reached out to the person the dealership that we bought the car from, set up an appointment that I actually have in about 20 minutes or so for an appraisal. But what they're saying is that they could potentially buy the car back for what we paid for, which was about $21,000. And I'm hoping that if they buy it back for at least $20,000, that I could use that amount to purchase a minivan, because we're looking at getting a minivan, and maybe have a small amount of debt after that instead of the $14,500. I'm just wondering if you think that's a good idea.
Ken, I wasn't on that hour. My first inclination is when a dealer says, I'll pay you this for something, they already have a markup in mind, which tells me you would make more money on the private market. but I wasn't on that segment.
Yeah. Well, the bottom line is that right now dealers are paying premium money for used cars because there's so much demand. But John's absolutely right. So, Lawrence, what I would do is I would go do Kelley Blue Book and be really, really honest, and you can kind of get a sense for what that private sale would look like. To John's point.
So I did.
Okay, good. What'd you see?
That.
What was the number?
About 19.5, I think.
Great. I'd hold on to that number.
Market.
Listen, that's great. So we got 19.5 in our pocket if you sell it yourself. All right. And let's see what the dealer says. Because if the dealer says 20 or 21, I'm selling to the dealer now, instantly.
I'll Uber home.
Yeah, absolutely right. Because you don't know what you're going to get in the private market. If the dealer offers you 20, I'd take it so fast their head would spin. I mean, I really would. And
or ask them if they'll trade you a minivan straight up.
And then here's what I was going to challenge you on. You're not going to like this.
Okay, I'm ready.
Trade you a minivan straight up.
That was my Dumb and Dumber reference.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I like that strategy. Take the money because you're going to pay off the car.
Right.
The debt's gone. And you're going to have, let's say they offer you 20, you're going to have 5.5 left. I'd try to find an older minivan. I would try to pay the whole thing off, and I'd try to find a $5,000 minivan that'll work for 6 months or a year and then save up. I'd knock the whole debt out if it were me.
That's exactly what I would do.
I wouldn't pay partial. I'd knock the whole thing out. Did I hear you right? That's the only debt you have left?
No, we have her student loan it's going to be, I think after some payments that we debt snowball this month will be under $3,000. So we're pretty close. And so that's why I was really excited about the possibility.
Dude, listen to me.
Close to being debt free.
Clear it all out, man.
If we had enough time left on the air, I would stay on the line. We would do the first time ever. We'd have the dealer come on and we'd accept the deal for you.
Yes.
That's what I would do. I would take the deal.
Yes.
Take the deal and listen, go find something that's affordable for $5,000. I mean, not affordable, that's functional for $5,000. And I'm telling you, you can find it.
Yes, and then be done with it, man. Be debt-free, be done with it.
Knock the student loan out, and now we can just pile away at that emergency fund, and then we're buying a nice minivan in 6 to 10, 12 months max.
Yes, or 2 years. No one's going to die. You're going to be all right.
That is true.
You know what I mean? All right, let's take one more call. Let's go to Nick in Medford. Hey, Nick, what's going on, man? We're right up against the clock, so what's your question?
Hey, Dr. D and Ken, how are you guys doing?
Outstanding, man. What's up?
So I'm in the counseling profession, and I love what I do. I'm passionate about my line of work, but I hear often how this line of work does not make a lot of money. And I'm really grateful at the position I'm in right now, but I'm also looking ahead, and I'm curious as to what people do I need to be around, or what are some steps I can take to make anywhere between $100,000 to $150,000.
I remember in grad school, they had a private practitioner come in that was doing really well. And everyone was talking kumbaya stuff and how you can help people, and I agree with all that. But I raised my hand, and I was in a community, and I said, I don't want to be crass, but how do I make 6 figures as a counselor in this community? And he said, you're not going to like my answer. I said, well, what is it? And he said, be really, really good at counseling and work really, really hard. Develop a good reputation. And so here's what I would do. I have personally called and met with, taken to coffee, taken to lunch, people who own their own practice.
Yep.
Multiple therapists work for them. I've got a friend who's it's a husband and wife team in Texas, and they have multiple therapists that work for them, multiple interns that work for them. They pay them really well. And I know people who do consulting with businesses on the side, who have a practice and also are professors. There's 100 different ways to go about it, but it's about you. It's Ken's proximity principle. It's about you reaching out to any and everybody in Medford, Oregon that will possibly go to coffee with you and asking them every question you got. Yep. But at the end of the day, right now, counselors are doing remarkably well in certain areas, of course, because they can put their practice online. They can meet with people now at 6 in the morning, at 6 at night. They can meet the clients in different places and locations. Cash pay is ruling the day. So there's 100 different options here. Really, it's you figuring out what you want to do, what you're good at. Another great way to make money as a therapist is running groups, because everybody can bring a little bit less money in.
That's right.
You can help out more people in your community, but you make more money per hour. So there's a bunch of different options there. Does any of those sound right to you?
Yeah, no, thank you so much.
Yeah, Nick, listen,
this opens up.
We're going to give you a copy of my book, The Proximity Principle, which literally it's chapter by chapter. It's going to walk you through what John just said, who you're connecting with, what you're asking. You just got to learn to be a human sponge and say, hey, I want to learn this. Here's why I want to learn it. I think you can help me. People find tremendous value in that when you value their advice. So don't be intimidated by this. John's absolutely right. And beyond just getting the advice, you're going to clarify and verify some things. You're going to clarify all the different paths. Like John just said, this group therapy. I mean, you could run 2 or 3 of those a night.
That's right.
You get 10 dudes in a room. You start doing the numbers on that. I mean, and again, John's absolutely right here. And I'm not the counselor, but I'll tell you this. The people that are really, really good at what they do, people walk out of those counseling sessions and they go, you got to go see this guy. You got to go see this gal.
And he was expensive and
she
worth
was
every
expensive.
penny.
She rocked my world. She changed my life. And so that's how their rates get up there. So, and I'm just making these up as round numbers, but if you're charging $100 an hour right now, the only way you're going to get to $200 an hour or $300 an hour is unbelievable results. So that your mentor, that was a great answer. You're not going to like it because this is hard work. Mm-hmm. This is not just hard work, excellent work. Yeah. You got to dig. You got to take people to a place of health. You got to be really good at it.
And here's the thing about working in mental health. You may realize, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do what it takes to make that kind of money in this profession because it's hard, right?
That's a good point.
Hey, I want to thank James Childs and Kelly Daniel for another great show. I love you guys. Y'all are great.
Love you too, man.
Ken,
I love you guys.
It's always fun.
I love you too.
Yeah. Appreciate you guys. Everybody, engineers too. Thank y'all. Be kind to one another. Respect each other, and we will see you soon. This has been The Ramsey Show.
Hey guys, this is James, senior producer for The Ramsey Show. Did you know over 18 million people listen to The Ramsey Show every week? And a lot of those people listen on one of our 600 plus radio stations across the country. To find a station near you, head to theramseyshow.com.